This is Maximus Aviation.
Greetings everybody, Maximus here. I hope you're all doing well wherever you may be, all around this great big world of ours. Well, the year in aviation got off to a tragic start, and actually it began in December around Christmas time, with the Azerbaijan Airways and then Jeju in South Korea, and then into the new year with a seemingly one crash after another, coming faster than I could make the videos. Well, now these crashes are starting to be investigated and results are starting to be shown as to the causes of these crashes. So I have some updates and I'm going to share them with you now, beginning with the Azerbaijan Airways plane. The Azerbaijan Ministry of Digital Development and Transport has issued its preliminary report of the investigation into the fatal crash, which was witnessed by the world in a terrifying video. And it points out the obvious that the aircraft had suffered damage from external foreign objects before the crash. The report unequivocally states that the Azerbaijani Airlines Embraer 190-100 was airworthy at the start of its flight from Baku to Grozny. Information from the flight data recorder confirms the aircraft's flight control systems were functioning properly at the time prior to the foreign object impact. Furthermore, both engines operated normally until the point of the accident, as evidenced after examination of the flight data recorder, eliminating mechanical failure as an initial contributing factor. The aircraft encountered issues with its GPS signal losing reception in Russian airspace over Grozny Airport. This is most likely due to jamming by the Russian military. However, the loss of navigational capability combined with adverse weather conditions forced the pilots to abort 2 landing attempts at Grozny. However, the decision to return to Baku suggests a developing awareness of the escalating risks. A critical finding of the preliminary report was the discovery of damage to the aircraft's fuselage caused by the external foreign objects. This damage was widespread, particularly in the aft section of the aircraft, including the vertical and horizontal stabilizers, as well as the left wing and left engine. The report explicitly states that there is no evidence of a bird strike at all. Well, duh, no kidding. Photographs of the foreign objects have been released, and further expert analysis is underway to determine their exact nature and origin. Yeah, I can tell you, it was a Russian missile. Crucially, the CVR recorded 2 distinct external noises over Grozny, separated by 24 seconds. Shortly after these noises, the aircraft experienced a cascading failure of all its hydraulic systems. Within seconds of the first noise, the third hydraulic system failed, followed by the first system 6 seconds later, and the second system 21 seconds after that. The sequence strongly suggests a direct link between the external damage and the subsequent hydraulic failures. The loss of all 3 hydraulic systems would severely impair the pilot's ability to control the aircraft. Again, an understatement. But as you can clearly tell by their tap dancing around the certain words and suggestions, that the Azerbaijan Airlines is really tiptoeing around publicly saying out loud what we all know, and that is that Russia shot down this jet. However, the airline seems quite hesitant to state that. But the report indicates that the aircraft lost primary flight controls at 5:13:32. A short time later at 5:21:42, the coordinating air traffic controller informed Grozny Airport ATC about a Russian special operation in the area. However, the report doesn't explain the nature of the special operation. However, this timeline underscores the rapid deterioration of the situation following the hydraulic failures. The preliminary report makes a specific point of noting that there is no information suggesting an explosion of oxygen cylinders, as was floated by the Russians and others. But it suggests that investigators have considered this possibility and at this stage have found no evidence to support it. The report concludes that the aircraft encountered a, quote, catastrophic sequence of events. While the aircraft was initially airworthy, damage from external foreign objects, again they're saying the nature of which is still under investigation, appears to be the critical trigger. Well, again, no duh. But in conclusion, the report states that the damage likely led to cascading hydraulic system failures, ultimately resulting in the loss of control. The loss of GPS signal and adverse weather conditions in Grozny further compounded the challenges faced by the crew. The ongoing investigation, including expert analysis of the recovered foreign objects, will be crucial in determining the precise cause of this tragic accident and preventing similar occurrences in the future. You know what else will prevent similar occurrences in the future? Maybe if the Russians don't shoot down jets with a missile. Just saying. Okay, so moving back to Philadelphia in the U.S. and the tragic crash of the Learjet air ambulance. The U.S. NTSB has concluded its work at the site of the deadly medical jet crash in northeast Philadelphia, but Managing Director Adam Thiel noted that the forensics investigation is still ongoing. Thiel said, "We won't have a definitive answer about the number of victims or casualties until we're done with the entire forensic investigation and process all of the samples that were collected from the site." Federal investigators will examine the cockpit voice recorder recovered on Sunday, 2 February, along with other evidence, to determine what may have caused the crash. On Tuesday, the NTSB released images of the cockpit voice recorder, which was discovered 8 feet deep in the crater left in the aftermath of the crash on Cottman Avenue. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the plane did not have a flight data recorder, but investigators are hoping to retrieve flight data from the jet's ground proximity warning system. Duffy said information can come off that device, whether it's the speed or location of the aircraft. Okay, now some updates on the American Airlines Black Hawk MidAir DC collision. Officials said on Tuesday, 4 February, they have recovered all 67 victims in last week's devastating plane and helicopter crash outside the nation's capital, confirming they have identified 66 bodies. And there was some breaking news this week that came out of the NTSB and the FAA's meeting with the U.S. Senate Commerce Committee on the DC crash. Senate Commerce Committee Chair Ted Cruz told reporters that the Black Hawk helicopter had turned off its Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast, or ADSB. Cruz said this was a training mission, so there was no compelling national security reason for the ADSB to be turned off. He noted the helicopter had its transponder on, so it would appear on radar, but the ADSB is significantly more accurate. This would explain the altitude discrepancy of the Black Hawk that night between the tower and the data recorder. Also, it has since been revealed that the helicopter was flying about 100 feet or 30.5 meters over the maximum allowed for that route. Also, in that Senate meeting, NTSB Chair Jennifer Homenday told reporters that it appears based on the cockpit voice recorder that the helicopter pilot was indeed wearing night vision goggles, which could be one of the causes of the mid-air collision. Homenday also said now that the helicopter had been recovered from the Potomac River, it would likely be several more days before the NTSB can confirm that the helicopter's ADSB was in fact off during the crash. Also, the NTSB said that 5 air traffic controllers who were working the night of the fatal collision between the plane and the helicopter over Washington have been questioned on their role in the crash. The 5 employees who were working in the control tower at Reagan National Airport on the night of the collision have been interviewed by the NTSB in an effort to piece together what went wrong. Investigators are developing a detailed timeline of the crash and compiling flight data and communications between the air traffic controllers, the jet, and the helicopter. Also, it was revealed that 2 employees at the Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority have been arrested over leaked video of the tragedy. The video, which CNN aired as an exclusive story, was stolen from the airport's CCTV system by the 2 suspects, then sold to CNN. The duo has been charged with computer trespass for allegedly making an unauthorized copy of the airport's authority record. Mohammed Lamine Megenwe, 21, of Rockville, Maryland, was arrested on January 31 over the breach. He was booked into Arlington County Adult Detention Center but later released, because of course he was. Later on Sunday, 45-year-old Jonathan Savoy from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, was arrested for the same crime. He too was released on a summons by a magistrate. Meanwhile, the recovery of the jet wreckage from the Potomac continued and was expected to be concluded by Friday, 7 February. The NTSB says it has removed most key pieces of the plane, including most major components of the wings as well as the tail, and significant portions of the forward cabin and cockpit. The wreckage was transferred one piece at a time from a barge to a flatbed truck parked only a couple of hundred feet from the airport's main runway, as being transported to a secure hangar where it will be pieced back together for examination. The recovery of the helicopter was completed on Thursday, February 6. A preliminary report on the cause of the crash is expected within 30 days. And finally, in the wake of the Jeju Airlines fiery December crash, South Korean Transport Ministry said it aims to rebuild its aviation system from scratch. On 4 February, the Transport Minister said it is launching a committee to improve air travel in all of South Korea, a country that suffered 2 major aviation incidents a month apart. In a statement, the ministry said in order to restore trust in our country's aviation safety system, the government will make a determined effort to rebuild the aviation safety system from the ground up, adding that the government must address aviation safety as a top priority. So there you have it. You're all caught up on the latest but tragic news of aviation crashes so far in 2025. And let's hope it gets better, because frankly it can't get much worse. But with that, now it's your turn. Let me know what you think about these crashes and the causes, and whatever thoughts you may have, please feel free to share. But I won't know what you're thinking until you let me know down below. And as always, until next time, yeah, this is Maximus.